Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron here on December 18th. And blessings to each of you as we move through these amazing times of shifting energies and powerful expressions of who we are and what our purpose is. And I come to you this morning with wonderful messages of that I received this morning, and in knowing that we are moving through much. How do I want to say this? Very high energies that we've been through before, but not at this level. And for many of us, it may be disturbing, it may be uncomfortable. So here I am on the southwest coast of Maine. Good morning. And the first person here who's on the sideline, and I'm just catching this, you're coming in, is Deanna Kelsey. Found out I have lung carcinoma with a type of cancer. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Deanna. And I offer you, and I offer all of our prayers for you and our energies for you, that you may come to peace within yourself to be able to go through what you need to go through as the beautiful soul being that you are. And we pray for the highest outcome for you. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's important, these energies and these times that many of us are experiencing, and we just don't know where or what is going to happen. And that's the topic of today, is to listen and let go. And there was 3 beautiful cards that I pulled that are reflecting that. You know, it's not easy to this listen, and this one, where is it? Oh, let go. There you go. I get all mixed up on this silly computer. And that's part of the process, is to remember to not get overdrawn, not to get over pulled into. Again, if you're physically ill, it's hard not to, because you are physically distressed. But most of us are, or many of us are, just rolling in our heads and our wheels. And so what I begin to say is, today is the 18th of December, and we just had a snowstorm. I guess it's about 8 inches, which doesn't stop anything, but it changes the energy of everything. So we go from this barren, leafless world with the grass that's yellow and green and gone into dormancy, basically. And now it's alive with this white frozen water that just lays a blanket over everything. And there is a peace in that. And that's what listening and letting go is about not so much covering everything, but bringing that peace, that peacefulness, that back to us, which has been disrupted this whole year by many, many different things. And I'm not even going to mention them because it's redundant. We all know what they are. We all know what has happened in our personal lives to disrupt us, to distort our thinking patterns, to make us look deeper within ourselves. And part of that looking deeper within ourselves is so that we can let it go, that we can release it, because we're moving into a whole new era, a whole new era. Many people talk about it differently, and it doesn't matter how we describe it. We know that humanity's changing and humanity is evolving. And we have young children who are being born who are brilliant. These, there's the children who you can talk to and have an adult conversation with at 4 years old, and they will give you information. And that's amazing. So we have to take those moments, whether you have witnessed them in your own lives and your own families or not, know that in the world, this is what's happening. The news around us is not going to tell us all this. They don't want us to know this because they want to keep doing what they've done over and over and over again, because most of those who are in control of that are at the top tier of financial stability and control of the world. They're power mongers, is what I call them. And I'm not saying that derogatorily, but there is an anger that rises me when I see the greed and when I see the the behavior of adult human beings choosing to destroy rather than build, whether it be in the environment or in the community or even just within their own families. And this is going to end. It's going to end because this is all changing. The environmental container for that is changing. Which brings me to the universe. So on the 21st, we have the solstice, the winter solstice, which is always a powerful time of change. Summer solstice, winter solstice, they're opposite, but they're most powerful points in time. This has been traditional throughout all cultures to know that this is a time to go within, to go within and yet reach out to our galactic ancestors, if you will. And know that we are not here by chance, that there's a purpose that each one of us are here to fulfill. And even those who may be suffering, somehow there's a purpose in that at a higher level. I know I've suffered a lot in my lifetime, and I've been fortunate enough to still be here and be able to talk about it. But it isn't about me. It's about all of us. It's about all of us listening. And listening is more than just catching the sound. We have to listen deeper and hear what's is being said. Not just the noise, listening to the noise and the chatter. That keeps us distracted. So we need to hear clearly what's being said to us and what we're being invited to be part of. So again, all of us are experiencing dramatic shifts in consciousness, shifts in physicality, as Deanna has said, and each one of us are really needed to gather together at the heart level in order to rise up and co-create this field of energy that aligns with the shifting of the universe. So on the 20th, or let's say just today, the sun is aligning with the galactic center of our universe. You know, it's this the galaxies lining up. And so your energies, when that happens, spike, and your energies may spike. Okay? So if you feel that surge of energy, put it to useful purpose. Do something creative with it. Reflect it on what needs healing in your body. Call in that energy for healing within you, whether it be physical or emotional. This is what we're learning to do now, is how do we take the energies of the universe and bring them into our bodies for the greater good, not only of ourselves, but everyone around us. What we do now is shifting from the I, me, stationary, I'm the center of the universe, to I'm part of the circle of the universe. That the central core, that point within the center, always remains the same. And we are all part of that point within the circle, emanating from that out into form. Who are we in that stillness of that center point? What are we? We are pure, divine light, peace, and love. We can't stay there and still maintain ourselves in this physical body. So we have to be in these physical bodies in order to be here and present. But don't forget who you really are. And that's the message of this shifting into the center of the galaxy in alignment is this is our authenticity. This is the source where it comes from. I don't mean to preach to you. I always say that, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so what happens is with these alignments are the energies come in and they shift not just us, they shift the energy of all the planets, not just here. So we have Jupiter going into Aquarius, we have Saturn going into, I think Jupiter goes on the 21st. I think Saturn went yesterday. Yeah, something like that. So these are all galactic happenings that affect us, even if you don't have any clue of what they are or if they even exist. They're not waiting. The universe is not waiting for us to recognize it. It doesn't need our recognition. It doesn't need our permission. We are part of it. Just like your finger is part of your hand. But your finger doesn't know what's going on in your foot. It doesn't need to know what's happening in your foot. It's allowing the foot to do what it's going to do. And hopefully it doesn't hurt the hand, but I mean, you know, this is who we are. This is the essence of who we are. Each one of us, how many billion people on this planet? Each one of us is a finger or a foot of something greater. We're amazing, amazing beings. So the first card of this morning was listening. And this is this beautiful galaxy that just has some numbers, but you can see the beautiful colors and how it spreads out and just filled with light. Maybe you can see it better that way. Yeah. Look at it reaching up, almost as if it's dancing through the sky. And the message of the listen card reads as follows. And by the way, these are, doesn't say on here, but it's sacred space meditation cards. And you can see they're quite big, so they're not easy to handle, but you learn real quick how to deal with that. So listen reads as follows. The great mind of God knows the answers to my problems before I ever ask. The great universe, the great mind of God knows the answers to my problems before I ever ask. Allow that message to filter through your human mind down into your heart. Because it's the heart that makes the connection, not the head. The head receives the information. But until we feel it in our hearts, it's not of much use to us other than saying, oh, I know this, and or, I know that. But knowing right now is not the deal. Many of us are losing the ability to remember. For some, it's very frightening. But it's here where the memory that we need to keep, even if up here we don't have it, if the memory in our hearts comes online, we will act in accordance with that memory, that heart. So what we're listening to is the voice of God, if you will. But I'm not talking about the religious aspect. I'm using it in the greater sense of source of everything. The source of everything. Can we tap into the source of everything? Can we let go and listen to that? Not so much with our ears, but within our inner presence. Can we listen? You know, we think of listening with just with the ears, but listen with every cell in your body. Every cell in your body is like a transmitter and a receiver. And this is how it communicates. I mean, we think this Wi-Fi is great. You've been doing that since you were born, even before you were born. When your mother's womb, you were processing information. This is nothing new. This is just a physical construct that looks like it's amazing. We've been amazing all along. We have been amazing all along. And it's now time for us to recognize that and let go of the things that are holding us back. And that's the last word of the sentence, was listen and let go. And that card is this one. And I don't usually use this deck. And it's, I don't even remember what the deck is. It's, I'll probably have it written down somewhere here. Life Purpose card. On the message, you can see it's sort of an angel with, let's see if I can get it up there. Angel with a little, or I'm going to call her an angel. She looks angelic to me, with the beautiful unicorn in her background and holding a little puppy dog. How loving and gentle is that? This is to remind us that we are loving and gentle. That representation of magic and mystery is really who we are. There's nothing out there that is any more magical or mysterious than humanity. And the message is walk away from this situation in order to resolve it. We're in situations. We're in situations right now in the world that people want to stir up and keep throwing in your face and stir them up and throw them in your face. Because when they do that, they have you occupied. And when you're occupied, you're focused. You're focused on something. And if they can get you to focus on something that's negative, you're easier to manipulate. And I'm not saying this about any one person or any one thing. It's just the nature of humanity to control. Yes, we need to control certain aspects of life, not only collectively, but individually. But what humanity has created is a system that's out of control. And it has no desire to bring it back into control because those who are running it are benefiting. And they're taking the life force out of everyone else. So when you feel depressed, when you feel anger, when you feel all of these emotions, know that they're real. But they're not so much about you as they are about the whole picture. How do we affect the whole picture? Well, first of all, we have to shut down all these holes in our self where this energy is being drained, stolen. My guides are saying stolen. And then we're left to blame ourselves because that's the way it's always been. Well, you did this to yourself. Well, yes, we did. That's true. But only because we felt that others had our best interest at heart. And we know that even in our own families, we have mothers and fathers around the world who may know better, but don't have their children's best interest at heart. And each one of us can go back into our childhood and say, ooh, wow, ooh, that's ugly. Why? Why me? And this is a time now of releasing that. And this is listening. And this is listening to that voice inside of you that brings this up. And not go into fear and not go into, I can't do this. Because as the card said, the great mind of that which we call God knows the answers to your problems before you ask. It's not here to prevent anything from happening because you have the free will choice. Each of us has a free will choice as sovereign beings to experience all of life. And all of life isn't always beautiful. What's happening now and what the guides are telling us is we need to go back into that memory. And you're doing it anyway, whether you want to or not. It's coming up. It's like you're throwing up inside of yourself. And to look at that and let it go. And that's the hard part. It's not an easy process for any of us to go through that garbage in our lives. And it goes back maybe all the way back into your being in the womb. Those memories. And then beyond that, there's ancestral memories that we need to release. Traumas to the earth that impacted us. And we can do it. We can do it by gently listening. I'm looking and saying, I'm on a pathway forward. I don't have time for this stuff back there. So how do I embrace it? How do I go through that period of, the pain is overbearing. I don't want to do this anymore. How do we move through that field of energy and then get to the place, the stillness, where the beauty and the charm and the willingness to do good for others flows magically. And the energy comes into us and flows out of us. And we are part of this positive flow that is inviting the children who are being born today to come, to let them know that we're trying our best to clear the way for them. If there's anything we have left to do in our lives, is to prepare the way for others. Clear the road of all obstacles. And first, we have to begin within ourselves. This is listening, and this is letting go. Each one of us have a unique role to play in this. I can't tell you what that is. I don't know your story. I don't know where you've been or what you're going through. I can sit here in my perspective and feel excited. I know that it's not been easy. I know that it won't be easy for any of us. But there's old stories. Yes, they're written in the sacred scripts of religions. And that card, walk away from this situation in order to resolve it, reminded me of the angel's message to a man named Lot and his wife and children, who were, it's a Bible story, who were leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, I believe, yes. And the message simply was, do not look behind you. And I think the penalty was you were going to turn into a pillar of salt. Now, I don't know if there's any truth in that or not. But the message, do not look behind you. And the message had another part to that it wasn't read, was do not look behind you and want to bring what you had back there with you. And that's the message my angels gave me this morning. Look back and say, what is back there that I'm walking away from and that I need to walk away from? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You won't turn into a pillar of salt if you fail. But you will feel some kind of suffering. Because until we can let go of all of that heinous behavior, if we look at Sodom and Gomorrah, I'm not going to go to the details of the story, but if you look at it, it was this mecca of just wild abandon on all levels. Not that anyone's right, anyone's wrong, but it was just total self-engagement and selfishness and greed and power and disrespect. It was the epitome of that to me when I read that. And Lot wanted something better for himself and his family. And don't you feel the same way? You want something better for yourself and your family? Of course you do. It's human nature to want something better. That's not being greedy. That's just desiring to be complete and whole. And we can't be complete and whole if we're bringing all of these stories with us of our lifetime that have told us that we're not worthy, we're not smart enough, we're not good enough, we're useless, shut up, go away, I don't have time for you. You have your own stories, you have your own words, you know the pain. I'm not here to remind you of the pain specifically, but I am here to remind you that that's got to go. And that's the message of the mountain Megiddo. I don't know if I pronounced that right or not. But it's the story of Armageddon. And that story is that Armageddon will not bring the end of the world. That's what everybody's fear is. That's what everybody thinks might happen. That's what people will tell you will happen in order to frighten you. But the real story is not about the end of the world. It's about listening and trusting our authentic self. And knowing that together, those of us who listen and let go of a great bunch of this crap as we move forward, we will, along with the generations coming, shift and change the world back into what in other parts of the stories call paradise. And this is where we're at. We're in this crosshair of shifting from one negative aspect of how we can live into the energies of a positive way we can live. We're in this time of transition. Recognize it over the solstice. Know that all the messages point in one direction, forward. I have a card from Soul Inspiration Cards by Kalia. And it's a beautiful picture of, she put these on photos. Today, I will blossom. Today, I will burst out in pure pleasure, despite the weather. Those who tease me will never please me. I am the one who owns my fun. I'm going out there to dance in the sun. So as the sun rises for solstice, in these days of it standing still, get out there and dance. Get out there and be joyous, knowing that you are the masters of your own, what we would call salvation. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have the power to do that. You are the ones who have chosen to be here during this epic time. Know your power, know your strength. May those of you who are suffering illness hold on into your heart, knowing that in spite of the illness, in spite of the ailments, in spite of all that's happening, you are an amazing, beautiful angel of light. And in the midst of all of our suffering, let's all take a moment to give to each other. Maybe all we can do is smile. Maybe all we can do is have enough strength to reach out and hold somebody's hand. But let's confirm within each all of us that our hearts, the health of who we are as these amazing beings in our hearts, is now what's most important. My final writing this morning is, so the messages all point in one direction, which is forward. And just like the flowers that blossom in the spring, so too will we enter the spring of our own journey. And be there to show the future generations that not only can we survive very devastating winters, we are beautiful beings of creation. That cannot and will not ever end. Be at peace as you move through these days towards the celebration of what we call Christmas, which, irregardless of your religious faith, you're going to be caught up in it. Know that this act of giving at Christmas is really not just about Christmas, it's supposed to be every day. It's a day of reminding us to give. And where do we give from? Right here. Give from your heart. Allow the energies that are coming into you flow through directly to your heart. Whatever you have to do that, please, I implore each of you, keep your hearts open and listen beyond the noise in this field. Listen to that inner calm, that connection, that beam of golden light that doesn't care where you are, who you are, what color you are, what language you speak, who your ancestors were. It knows you because it is you. You are all of that. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. And for those of you who don't know what I'm doing when I do that blessing, I'm blessing the water that you are. Every water molecule in your body. I am you. I am you because I feel everything that you feel. Everything that's happened to you has happened to me in some form, shape, or manner. We all have stories of how, when, where, why. They're all unique to us because we're all unique. But I am you. And I feel you when you hurt. And I feel you when you laugh. And so do you. Feel those around you when they hurt and when they laugh. You are me. We are mirrors for each other. See yourself in me. I see myself in you. And the last words of that blessing is, we are unity. We are one. We are one humanity. And just like our bodies are one body that appears to be separate, in truth, there can be no separation. It's an illusion. And the sooner we come back to honoring the oneness, the wholeness, knowing that we can have our individual expressions of that, doesn't make us all the same, doesn't make us a clone of each other. Each one of us is unique, just as the unique as the fingerprints. But we are one. We are united. And we can't be separated. Except like this brain, there's two halves of this brain. That's where the separation is, right there. Bring the halves back together. Bring the light into your bodies. Know that you are peace, light, and love. Until after the day of Christmas and after the solstice, and we'll be here again. I thank you. I wish you the blessings of the season, whatever and however you enjoy your days. And it will be strange with this coronavirus, with us all being separated. But know that it's only in form that we are separated. We can communicate. We can love. We can be with each other in many, 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 many ways. Have a great week and enjoy whatever you're doing. I encourage everybody to get out on the 21st and be part of that solstice somewhere around the world. There's communities celebrating in different ways. It's going to be powerful to just be present in that energy. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know it. You don't have to figure it out. Just get out in the open, in nature, and say thank you. Uh-huh. Didn't mean to be so long this morning, but some days the tongue wants to talk. Bless you all. Thank you.